Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to do a quick review on the EcoSphere. So, right in front of us we have two different sizes. Well, sorry, same size, different shape. On the right hand side we have the small sphere, on the left hand side we have the small oval. So, really quickly, the EcoSphere is basically a self-contained enclosure with 4 shrimps and some algae. The concept is that this is a self-sustaining ecosystem where the algae will grow from the sun, and then the shrimp will eat the algae. And when the shrimp poops, the algae takes up the nutrients, and using a light, it'll kind of come on. Shh. Apologize for that. While using a light, it'll kind of continue the cycle. The algae will grow, shrimp will eat the algae, and then shrimp will poop, and the algae will use the poop as fertilizer. So that's the concept of self-containing ecosystem. Our Earth is basically a self-containing ecosystem as well. Now, a little bit about the people living in there, or the critters living in there. Let me see if we can zoom in a little bit so you can get a better look. So, each sphere here contains 4 red shrimp, and these red shrimp are typically found in Hawaii. I know this because I was going to set up a seahorse tank, and the Hawaii red shrimp is actually one of the premier food for seahorse. The red shrimp is great because they can go for a long time without food. Basically, they sustain themselves by consuming themselves. And they can go for half a year to a year without food, without starving. Now, hopefully we will not come to that in a system like this because we do have the algae going on in there. And in each of these spheres, as I mentioned, there's 4 guys, so they're not going to be lonely per se. And also, these red shrimps are hardy because they can withstand a range of water temperature from cold to hot, as long as it's like a gradual change. And they're basically bulletproof. Now, in nature, these Hawaii red shrimp can live upwards to 20 years, assuming they're not eaten by a predator. In captivity inside these spheres, looking at people's reviews, right, it seems like they can live up to about 12 or 13 years. We also got to keep in mind that when the company packed these red shrimps, we do not know their age. By the time these shrimps go into these enclosures, maybe they're already like 10 years old, we don't know. Now, this system will work assuming that the algae will have access to light, whether it's direct sunlight or indirect sunlight. Ideally indirect sunlight, so the algae does not grow out of control. Well, if the algae does grow out of control, the company does provide a tiny magnet where you can kind of use to pick something up from the gravel and then scrape off the algae. At least that's what I heard, and then I feel like that's what they have included. I see a little packed paper with some kind of black, I assume, magnets, but I did not take time to look into it because that was not an issue, at least in the past when I had an enclosure like this. But they did kind of take this into consideration as well. Now, with these kind of enclosure, there is some people have ethical issue with these because you're keeping shrimps inside a tiny enclosure like this. They're eating one type of food, and a lot of people say that they're probably not even eating the food, they're just kind of consuming themselves. It takes these red shrimp a long time to starve. And that is true, assuming that you do not provide the algae enough sunlight to grow, or light to grow. In terms of like ethical issue, that is a question for all of us individually. For me personally, I see that these shrimps are tiny. Enclosures pretty big compared to the body size, and we got 4 shrimps per enclosure, so they do have company per se. And you got to keep in mind too, I am the guy that has a parrot inside a cage. I have a dog that lives inside my house, and I have a reef tank that has fish in there. So I am okay ethically for something like this. But you should know that when you gift this to somebody, you better make sure that they are okay with something like this as well. Now, if it so happened that they are not, or you are not, and you somehow got this, there is a way to quote-unquote rescue these shrimps. if you look underneath each of the container, I'm kind of rocking the road right now. That's where there's a gap, there's a hole in there. That's where they kind of fill the container and add the shrimp. There are videos online showing you how to open this up and then letting the shrimps out. And although these shrimps are really hardy, I would not recommend releasing them into the local river because I think they're brackish or saltwater. And also, even if you release them in the ocean, they may become like an invasive species. So set up a shrimp tank. It is really easy. Set up a tiny like 2.5 to 5 gallon shrimp tank with a bubbler and then some like nice macroalgae. It'll look nice. But if you're okay with enclosure like this, I feel like they're the perfect office pet because it's maintenance free. You don't have to feed them. You just need to give them some light so the macroalgae will grow. And from time to time, you can check them out, see a whole different world in there, and it's kind of cool. Price-wise, on Amazon, if you look under EcoSphere, I'll have the link underneath in the video description. The small guy, the small sphere, is $55, and the small oval was $65. And the price kind of fluctuate from time to time, so it may be good to kind of just add them to your cart and just kind of wait for the price to drop before you pull the trigger. And again, I feel like if you are okay with these ethically, these will be really cool gift to other people or even yourself, especially in the office. And these guys, I've seen people have these enclosure of upwards to 12 or 13 years. So this is not like one-time thing. It's not like a 1 year thing and they're gone. So they do last a while, and there's minimum maintenance. All right, so that's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a self-enclosed container with 4 shrimps in there and some macroalgae. If you have any question, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll try my best to answer. If not, I'm sure other people will. And again, I will have the Amazon link to both of these products right underneath in the video description. And I hope this review has been helpful. Talk to you guys later.